What is up, guys? Before the video starts, I want to say that I left some time codes right in the description down below because I know the video is kind of lengthy, so if you guys want to get to a specific part of the video about resolution or frame per second, you guys can. If not, you guys are welcome to watch the whole video. I hope this helped. If so, leave a thumbs up. If not, just leave a comment down below, guys. Until next time, have a nice day. What is up, Fammilia? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. If not, smile because it will get better. Today, I'm going to continue doing the tradition of Tutorial Tuesday. With that said, I'm going to be doing a quick little tutorial for my friend Christian of how to render 1080 60 FPS and 30 FPS and 720 60 FPS and 30 FPS. With that said, guys, I'm going to try to keep it quick and simple. I will not be showing how to render 2K or 4K because I haven't used this resolution yet, so I'm more familiarized with 1080 and 720 resolution. So with that said, all you're going to do is open and grab the clips you're going to be using. So go ahead and do this, grab them, open them, and every time you go ahead and put some new clips on your timeline, most of the time this might ask you to, hey, do you want to go ahead and match the video properties to the timeline properties? Now obviously, because you're going to render it your own way, you're going to press no. But for anyone who might be starting out on YouTube, you might press yes because you might feel comfortable with this option. So first thing first, every time I open the clips, I go properties. Oh, this won't show me. I go right click, go properties, and disable resample. It's just on compressing the clips. For example, right here, it looks kind of, blurry. You don't want to have that. You want to go ahead and leave it clean. So boom, there it is. It's back to normal. With that said, this clip right here is 1080 60 FPS. So to master this project, as you see right here, is 1080 but it's 29 FPS. I'll go to properties, to the project properties, and I change the width height to my custom version of it. Now you don't have to do this, you don't feel comfortable. If you don't know what this is, it's basically how resolution work is by, blah 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 times this, blah 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 times that. So 1080 times 720 is equals 720 for resolution. 1920 times 1080 equals 1080 resolution. A lot of times you're gonna have a pre-template already. You could use this if you want to customize it like I do. Just press this and just add those. This is 1080. File order, pixel ratio, and output rotation, how it is. Don't change it unless you know exactly what you're doing. Like I said, just leave it how it is. Frame rate, this is where it gets easier and straightforward. All you have to do is change it between 29 FPS or 59 FPS, which is 29 equals 30 FPS or 59 equals 60 FPS. They just rounded up. Simple math, guys. Don't get too confused. Now, if you're using a camera and you're recording on 23 FPS or 24 FPS or 25 FPS, now go ahead and leave that, for example, if you recorded 23, then go ahead and put the 23 frame per second. If you recorded 24, leave it 24, 25, whatever is the case. Just match the frame rate to the clip that you're using for the video. So I'm gonna go ahead and put 60 FPS, 3D scope, leave it off because you're not working with 3D mode. Pixel format. Now, sometimes I've seen people having in 8-bit, 32-bit video levels and 32-bit full range. Now, the difference between this is just how the picture looks. If you know what you're doing and you want to have like an old school dull type of video, 8-bit will do its job. If you want to have full range of color but not all of it, video levels will do. If you want to have all the videos that you have on the rainbow, go ahead and put 32-bit full range. That's all the colors on the rainbow, literally every single color that you can imagine, there it is. That's why it's called full range. Gamma, leave it at 1. View transformation, leave it off. Sometimes when you open it, it's in sRGB. I know it happens. That's if you're using an RGB camera or RGB things that it wants to match those properties. Full resolution rendering quality, put it as best. This has nothing to do when you're editing. It's just when you render, you want to render at its full capacity, not as boo boo or poop. Motion blur, leave it as Gaussian. Method, leave it at none. This could mess up or help your video depending what you're doing or if you know what to do. Now, this is what I was talking about. Every time you open a clip, it's going to ask you, hey, do you want to match the video project? Now, I leave it as adjust. I don't know why I haven't taken this off, but you guys could take it off. Unclick it and boom, there it is. And then if you want to save, your 1080 60 FPS for every project, because you're recording 1080 60 with everything that you do, just click this, start new projects, and press apply, and boom, there it is. So for example, I'm gonna go ahead and press apply because I am gonna quote unquote render this in 60 FPS, and I want to follow up with what I'm doing. Go ahead and press OK. Second step is when you're about to render, go ahead and mess with this. Most of the time you have draft, let's say auto, you're editing and you want to see your preview quickly. Now every time you're gonna render, just go ahead and switch this to best, full, and it's gonna be rendering, or your preview is gonna be in full picture, so that way there's no interference when you're rendering. It just goes like, okay, there it is, boom. You want everything to look sexy. Go ahead and press this render, or you could go to file, render as. Then this little window is gonna pop up. What you're gonna do is, here folder is where you want to save it. I always save my stuff in documents. It's just my personal opinion. Name, obviously if you want to name it something else, for example poop, you go ahead and name that poop. Whatever you want to do your thing, boo boo. Now these are the different outputs that you could use, from MP4 to MP2 to MP3 to Windows Movie Maker thing, AVI, whatever you want to do. You guys could use this here. If you guys are going to be rendering pictures, you guys could render this in picture. Like I said, whatever you want. I personally use MP4. It's very user friendly with a lot of websites and a lot of other editing software, so I go ahead and always render myself in main concept AVC/AAC, which is MP4, but for some reason you have to say the long term. You go ahead and just put time down. It's going to give you option to render for Sony tablets or Apple TV or internet, which is what we're going to be using, and all this stuff. So for example, again, because your video is 1080p, go ahead and press this customize template, and boom, this is going to come out. It's simple, straightforward, don't mess with it. Template, obviously you're going to be rendering in 1080, so it has a 1080 template already pre-made. If you want to have different things saved up, you guys could change the name and save it, and it's going to save in your Apple folder. This is just notes and stuff like that is just telling you what to do. Format is just basically what your overall video is going to look like, or what is the format of the video right now. So for example, this is probably scanning the 29, and it's just because it's set up like that, but we will fix that right now, no worries. Include video, is 1920 1080, again 1080 FPS. Profile, put this to high, so that way it actually renders pretty sexy. Frame rate is 29. If you push down on the tab, it's not going to give you the 60 FPS. All you have to do is either type 60 FPS, or what I do is 59.94, which is matching straight the FPS of the video, and boom, there it is. You're okay. Allow source to adjust frame rate. I will usually say unclick that, because sometimes, let's say the video says, oh, I've dropped down some FPS, it might drop down your whole overall FPS. So recording from 59, it could drop down to 57 or 58, and it might make your video look a little bit choppy. If you're a super editor, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't care, you're good to go. But in a personal opinion, I would say unclick it. Progressive scan, leave it there. Aspect ratio for pixel, just leave it at 1. Number of reference 2. You don't have to do this, it's up to you. Leave it like that. Bitrate, don't mess with it. Bitrate with variable, don't change it. With Premiere Pro, it's a lot easier to understand the bit rates, but here it's like with the millions, so it's very kind of confusing with what you're doing. So to not confuse you guys, just leave it normal. Now this 2-pass option is basically letting Sony Vegas render your clip twice, so it makes sure that everything that needs to be rendered and everything that needs to be done is done and does not mess up. So if you have time, I recommend to do this. If you don't have time and you guys are always in a rush, just unclick it and just let it render and pass by your video once. And then I know for Sony Vegas 11, 12 and older, for some reason it has different options to render. So if you want to render with your CPU, GPU, or all this stuff, you guys can. From Sony Vegas 13 and 14, it tells you to render using only CPU. This is just a new option, and boom, there it is. Enable progression download, leave it itself. Audio, if you know what you do with audio, you can change it. If not, just leave it stock. I usually put the bitrate of my audio to 3220. It's just a personal thing, and it actually makes it sound quote unquote a little bit better. System, it's just sending you system information. If you don't have a GPU on your laptop, then don't worry about it. If you have a GPU on your computer, it might give you some of a boost for your rendering. It doesn't boost you enough, but it gives you somewhat. A lot of people confuse that when you're rendering, it uses GPU. When you're rendering, it actually uses CPU and RAM, not GPU. So don't mess with this project. Again, why I was saying best and when I was putting the property to best is because of this. Video rendering quality, it says use project settings. Sometimes you're gonna be on a rush and forget. So if you did the first two steps that I told you about, the whole best, it's gonna render great. If not, and you're not in a rush, just always press best just to make sure that your stuff is rendering how you want it to do. This whole render loop, really region only, is up to you. You know, if you know what you're doing, what I'm talking about, like the whole highlight thing, that's fine. And that's what it means when it says render loop. Is this little highlight right here is rendering just this blue stuff right here. If not, you know, if you're done and it's not gonna be stuff like this, it's gonna render the whole timeline, which is okay. Now with that said, that's how you render 1080 60 FPS. How you render 1080 30 FPS, you just do the same thing. All you have to do is change it here to 29.97, press apply, press OK, go back to the render tab that you were, you know, change the name again, whatever. Again is matching whatever you wanted to do. This is Internet HD 1080. If you saved it when you start, you guys can find it easily. If not, oh well. Customize template, and boom, 29/97. Here it is, main. You guys should change it to high. You guys can change it to 2 pass if you want. Project, best, okay, render, and boom. There it is, guys. How to render 1080 60 FPS and 30 FPS. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete this clip because that's the 1080 60 FPS. This is 720 30. Alright guys, so for 720 30 FPS and 60 FPS is really straightforward. It's very simple. It's almost the same thing. I already right clicked it and disassemble resample. Go ahead and make sure that this is best and full. Go here in properties. You guys could actually use you know, this HDV 720 by 30 FPS. If not, you know, you can customize it to whatever you want. For example, the resolution for this is 1280 and 720, and boom, there it is, the template again. All this off, change the FPS to 29.97, leave the 32-bit on full range, the same basically how we were in the beginning of the video. Adjust source media is the same thing. Start a new project if you want to be always recording 720 29 FPS. Boom, there it is. Press apply, press OK, go to the rendering. Oh, that's saving as. Go to the rendering tab, go to MP4 again, Internet HD 720, customize template. Boom, it's set up already. Don't click this because we already talked about this. Press high, it's already 29 FPS. Allow store to adjust. Nope. For your order, just leave progressive 1 2. Press this if you want to press it. We already went over why or why not to do it. Bit rates, leave it by itself. System, audio, again, I could change it to 320 and it works. Project, best, okay, and boom, it matches the thing. Again, change the name, go to outlet, what you want to do, and the loop only if you know what you're doing. If not, just unclick it, and boom, render. For 60 FPS, you do the same thing like we just did. Leave it stock. Change this to 59.94. It's fine. It's just more. Oh, you could just do this. My bad. Leave the same settings the same. Apply. Okay. Render as. Go to MP4 again. Go to 720. Customize template. Change this to 94.94. 59.94. Jesus. Leave the same thing that we talked about too. Allow, no, blah, project, best, and boom, there it is, render. And that's pretty much it, guys. How to render 1080 60 FPS and 30 FPS, 720 60 FPS and 30 FPS. I hope this worked, guys. Until next time.